From kindergarten through college graduation, there are an estimated 40 million children and young adults in our education systems, both public and private.
And so we want to address some of those key concerns that parents and students may be having at this very unusual time as you're all forced to do that remote learning. Nicole's in our newsroom now talking with Priscilla Suarez. Nicole?
Christy and Louie, thank you. Priscilla, thank you for being with me. And I want to start with just that. There are millions of students at home learning, which means there are also millions of parents trying to guide them, trying to help them. I know I have some friends that are teachers and they are beyond stressed out right now. So what are you hearing, Priscilla? What are the students saying, as well as the parents and the teachers? What are some of the struggles?
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me here today, Nicole. So there are like three key challenges that we're hearing a lot about from students and from parents, and several of our students are parents, right? So one of them is limited access to technology. Of course, no one anticipated that we would go remote or transition to remote learning. So that impacts those folks who may not necessarily have access to the technology that they need at home, may not have a laptop, may not have a computer. May have been relying on local libraries and some of their institutions, their labs at their institutions to take these classes. So that's definitely been a concern. Along with that, there's been caregiving, right? So now that we're in a remote situation, a lot of us have been taking care of our children. I can tell you I'm a mother of two. I have my children here at home with me who are taking classes. And so a lot of our students have to juggle being caregivers either for their own children or for their parents or for their grandparents. And that certainly puts a strain and creates some challenges there. And all of those challenges kind of culminate to their attendance, right? Mm-hmm. They're not often sure with courses that were face-to-face or even hybrid. Sometimes there's confusion about whether or not those courses are going to continue to meet at a set schedule. So we're hearing a lot about that from parents and students, and we're doing all that we can to kind of communicate, certainly as an institution, in my case from Broward College, what some of the parameters are to better help those individuals with those challenges.
And Priscilla, if this were to continue, if this becomes the new way of life for the next year, students would have to start the new school year at home. What do they need? What do teachers and students need in order to make this happen?
So that's a great question. I think first and foremost, I think it's important for folks to make the best out of the technology that they do have available to them. I think we're very fortunate in that a lot of us do have, at the very least, a smart device, whether it's a smartphone, typically a smartphone, but they have some form of device at home. And so teachers in particular have to, and they've been understanding of students who may not have, say, a laptop or a computer and might have to use those smart devices that they have at their disposal. So something definitely for them to keep in mind, how to maximize the resources and the tools that they do have available to them. I think a big component of all of this transition is communication. So for teachers to be able to effectively communicate with their students, and for students to be able to understand that it takes a level of responsibility that they may not necessarily have had before because they had the luxury of seeing their teachers in person, right? So it's a two-way street for communication. I know that a lot of teachers are concerned about over communicating, but of course, if this becomes a way of life for the next academic year, we would have had some time already in this transition to kind of get that right or balance that as best that we can. And on the student end, as I said, to communicate with their teachers to understand what are the daily expectations, what are the daily assignments. If there is a syllabus, what does that syllabus look like? Where can the student get that? Because typically the syllabus is their guide, their daily or weekly lesson plan. So that's critical.
Communication is so important in all aspects of life. Priscilla, thank you so much. Christy and Louie, I'll send it back to you.
All right, Nicole, thank you.